அஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும் வரஹ்மத்துல்லாஹி வபரகாத்துஹு. அல்லட்டோனா மஸ்ஜிதுக்கு தொழுகைக்காக சென்றிருந்தோம். இன்று வெள்ளிக்கிழமை. அங்கு எடுக்கப்பட்ட வீடியோக்களும் இதனுடன் இணைத்து உங்களுக்கு அனுப்பப்படுகின்றன. அவைகளை பார்ப்பீராக. நம்முடைய வீட்டுக்கு அருகில் இருக்கும் பள்ளிவாசல் இது. இன்று இங்குதான் சென்றிருந்தோம். இங்கு நம்ம வீட்டுக்கு அருகில் 3-4 மஸ்ஜித்கள் இருக்கின்றன. அங்கும் சென்றிருந்தோம் என்பதை நீங்கள் அறிவீர்கள். அந்த வீடியோக்களையும் உங்களுக்கு நான் அனுப்பியிருக்கிறேன். இங்கு அட்லாண்டாவில் நாம் என்ன செய்கிறோம் என்பதை உங்களுக்கு தெரிவித்த வண்ணம்தான் இருக்கிறோம். இந்த வீடியோக்கள் உங்களுக்கு எப்படிப்படுகின்றன? இதை நீங்கள் விரும்பினால், நன்றாக இருக்கிறது என்று பட்டால் அதிகம் பகிருங்கள், ஃபார்வர்ட் செய்யுங்கள். அதே சமயத்தில் இதுவரை நீங்கள் சப்ஸ்கிரைப் செய்யாமல் இருந்தால் VM கலீலுர் ரஹ்மான் சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் செய்து கொள்ளுமாறு கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுகிறேன். நீங்களும் ஃபார்வர்ட் செய்யும் போது உங்களுடைய சிநேகிதர்களையும் இந்த சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் செய்யும்படி கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள் என்று கேட்டவனாக விடைபெறுவது VM கலீலுர் ரஹ்மான், அட்லாண்டாவிலிருந்து. நன்றி. அஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும்.
Fir'aun, and we had some communication with others and we had some comfort there, but now there is none. Then Musa started counting the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent upon them. When they were being persecuted, then Fir'aun had a commandment to kill all the children and 1 year and leave all the children the other year. So what happens now? The people, Musa was born in the year and Fir'aun had commanded the babies to be killed. So when his mother got some wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to put Musa into the casket and let it flow into the river. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that was the last man, he saved Musa. So Musa reminded them of that. Your babies were killed in front of you. And Allah saved you from that situation and brought up here. And you were persecuted. And you were being tortured under Fir'aun, and you are safe here in this desert. So he told them to count on their blessings instead of asking for, when they were asking, when will Allah's help will come? So instead of asking them to be patient, he said, start counting your favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you, so that He will grant you more. So this sabr is a quality we have to develop in ourselves, as Bani Israel had developed at the time of Musa alayhi salam. And what he commanded, instead of telling them straight to have sabr, he said, first make shukr to Allah subhanahu. Every one of us have hardships in our lives. Maybe for some jobs, maybe for some food, or maybe for some education, maybe in the family. Everyone has problems in their lives, and these problems, Allah gives the problems to individuals upon their capacity. Allah says, I will not give a problem to a person which he cannot bear. That means if you are being tried, if you have been pushed on some hardship, Allah knows your capacity. And Allah says, I will never put you into the hardship which you cannot bear. So when Musa started telling them, count the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He has bestowed on you. And for all of us, we have seen the situation in the Middle East now, how people are suffering every day. Women are suffering every day. Children are being killed every day. And they have no food, no water, no nothing. At this point, it is their patience which is holding them in place. And this patience is so unbearable, unbelievable. What the world is seeing, that now the people elsewhere are realizing that this patience is unbelievable. Where did they get from? What did they read in the Quran? With that context, most of the hard copies of the Quran all over the Masjid in America are gone. And people have taken from the Masjid. Now, that shows that people are eager to learn about Islam, what Islam is teaching. What Islam is teaching, that you are such in hardship and still you are patient. What is that patience? Where is it coming from? What did they learn in the Quran? That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. If you are grateful, if you are thankful to me, I will give blessings to you. What is that? فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُونِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, so remember me, I will remember you, and be grateful to me, and do not deny me. If you lose your patience, either people lose their control and do some wrong things that will put them into a deeper problem. Or you can say something to somebody which hurts them and you may lose your friendship. Or you may say something, suppose your parents are upset with you, and when at a point you lose your sabr and you react on the parents. Allah says, even if you say oof to them, you lose all your deeds. Everything is nullified. So this attitude we have to develop, that sabr is okay. Then even anger, and everybody has some emotions. Maybe if someone dies in our families, we feel very bad about it. If somebody comes and says, brother, have sabr, it's very easy to say, brother, have sabr. Of course this person is having sabr, and he is trying to control himself. And suppose somebody loses a job, he said, brother, you have sabr. It is very easy to say, but his mind is worried that I cannot sleep, I cannot feed my family, I'm about to, just say I'm about to do something. Of course, when you have hardship, there are emotions. You are entitled to have the emotions. You are entitled to get angry, but the reaction of that anger is not right. People get angry, people get upset, people get depressed with you can have sabr to a certain extent, but then you have some emotions which you express. When you express your emotions, make sure that in that expression of the emotions, you control yourself. Once you lose the control, one of the two things would happen, that you might lose control and do something which may harm you more, which may put you into deeper trouble. Or you might, suppose, as I said, if you lose your emotions and revolt against your parents, then it's a bigger harm. Because Allah says, when you do that, you lose all your deeds. Whatever you have done for the last 20 years, 30 years, it's all nullified. So the reaction of the sabr is what we have to, a reaction of the anger. After sabr, the emotions show the anger. Or maybe in depression. When you cannot control either of these situations, if you are depressed, then you lose more hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are more lost into oblivion. So the reaction of our emotions have to be controlled. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, I will surely test you, I will surely put you into the trials by involving you in fear and in hunger and by causing loss of property and loss of life and hoarding, and give glad tidings to the people who are patient. Allah, as I said earlier, Allah says in the Quran, I will not endure anybody with any hardship which he cannot bear. So hardships will come at the time, sometimes hardship comes when you have everything around. There is some family problems, you have hardship. And when you are financially doing very well, then something happens in your business or your job and all, then that's a hardship for you. We have so many commitments, we cannot oblige to those commitments, and you have hardships. At that time, sabr is very important. At that time, you have to count the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He has given that to you. If you are a knowledgeable person, if you are a doctor or engineer or a lawyer or attorney, that knowledge, you did not come with that knowledge when you were born. Allah had provided an opportunity to accumulate that knowledge and develop that skill, and that you mastered and developed that into a profession, and you could establish in society. So when you are hardship, instead of blaming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of getting into depression, or instead of showing your anger, if you start counting the blessings, yes, I was just a child, I did not have any education. Yes, Allah provided me an opportunity to take some education. Yes, Allah provided me to migrate here to America. Yes, Allah has provided me an opportunity to get a good job. And Allah has provided me an opportunity to start a new business. So these are all the blessings of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you count these blessings upon you, instead of blaming yourself or blaming the society, or sometimes people lose control and start blaming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh, this is Allah wanted me this to happen to me. Of course, everything is in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the time of sabr, when you are tolerating all this, we should not lose our control. When you lose our control, that's where we lost. We lose the future. We have to be very wise in suppressing our anger. In the example of Yaqub alayhi salam, if you remember, Yaqub alayhi salam first lost his first son, Yusuf alayhi salam. Then there is an ayah relating to that matter. وتولى عنهم قال يا عسفي على يوسف وابيضت عينه من الحزن فهو كظيم. And he turned away from them and said, "Oh my sorrow over Yusuf," and his eyes became white from grief, for he was a suppressor. If I remind you from the incident of Yaqub alayhi salam, his brothers, Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers, just put him into the well and went back to his dad, with their dad, and said, wolf, took him and ate him or whatever, and he is dead. And they brought a blooded shirt and gave it to his father. So he was very, very grievous. So what happened then? Yusuf alayhi salam, the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, that he was put into slavery, then he was he was bought up by another prince of that time, then he was in the palace, living in the palace, then he was blamed for something going wrong in the palace, then he was jailed, then he stayed in the jail for 7 years, then he was again freed, then now he became the finance minister of Egypt. At that year, when he became the finance minister of Egypt, there was a drought in Egypt. So the king gave him the authority to do whatever to save the country from the suffering of the drought. So he gathered a lot of corn and he stored them, and he started distributing in the communities. So now the order was, if any of the families want food, they have to bring all the members of the family, because there was no social security to provide a number and get the food. No. You have to present yourself in front of the minister, and he will give you 5 bags, 7 bags, proportion or whatever it needed to take. So Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers came, and they have to take everyone. They took permission from the dad. Dad, if you want food, we have to take even Binyamin, his younger brother, from Yaqub alayhi salam, because Yaqub alayhi salam was hesitant to give Binyamin with the other brothers, because he remembered the incident of what they did to Yusuf alayhi salam. So they brought Binyamin, then Yusuf alayhi salam recognized his brothers, and even he recognized Binyamin. So he wanted to withhold Binyamin. So he had a plan. He put a golden cup into the bag of corn, and when the security guards, when they were letting people go, they found one cup in their bag. They said, who did this? Then they knowingly they blamed Binyamin, because Yusuf had told them, hold Binyamin for that golden cup. So Binyamin was held back, and these brothers took the grain and went back to their parents. And then when they said, now we have to tell you another sad story. They told to Yaqub alayhi salam, don't blame us, now Binyamin is gone. He said, I cannot trust you. You have told me a lie before. Maybe you have given me, not a lie, given me a brief news. I still remember Yusuf. He did not talk about it, this ayah what I recited just now. Did not talk about Binyamin. This incident reminded him of Yusuf alayhi salam. And he was suppressing his anger or grief so much that he was crying and crying and crying for all these years that his eyes became white. That's what is mentioned in the Quran. And Allah says he was a great suppressor. He was tried. Even the prophets were tried. Rasulullah was tried. So Yaqub alayhi salam, when he heard the incident about Binyamin, that reminded him of Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, you did the same thing what you did. He was not believing his sons. He said, you did the same thing as you did to Yusuf alayhi salam. But how did he express that? When they gave him the news, he just turned back. He turned back, he said, I have been tolerating, I have been suppressing my anger, now I have all the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, Sabrun Jameel. The patience is the best. What else he can do? What else? If somebody is in hardship, like we see hardship, we should, in ourselves, hardships coming every day to our lives and our families and our children, our parents, our uncles, our aunts, our friends. What they can do? They have patience and they try. Whatever in their capacity, they try the best to keep that. So having patience and having emotions are the good quality. Emotions is natural. Once you have patience, to a certain extent, you can bear up. You may get angry or you may lose hope. We should not even lose hope from this. We have to have our trust in Allah. And Allah says, Sabrun Jameel. As Yaqub alayhi salam mentioned, these words were repeated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he said, patience is the best. Patience is the most beautiful. And Allah will create an alternative for us. When He puts a hardship, He will create an alternative for us. If you remember the incident of Aisha at the time of Rasulullah, she was blamed by one of the Munafiqin, Abdullah bin Ubay in Medina, that she was wrong. She was crying for one whole month to herself, and Rasulullah even did not see her for 1 month. And after 30 days, Rasulullah reached out to her and told her, if you have done something wrong, you tell me, Allah will forgive you. She said, you are telling me if? What is that if? Now, I've been crying to myself among the community, with the behavior of the community. Now my own husband is telling me if. But that's putting it down. Then her parents were sitting next to her, and Rasulullah was next to her. Then she turns to her father, Abu Bakr, and says, can you reply to him? She's asking her father's permission to respond to Rasulullah. He said, what? This is Rasul. I cannot show my anger, I cannot show anything, I cannot even reply. He remembers an incident of Umar when he was at Hudaybiyah. He responded to Rasulullah in a harsh manner. Rasulullah said, take Muhammad after Hudaybiyah, they brought an agreement between Makkans and people and the Muhajirin. Rasulullah said, take Muhammad out from them because they don't want to sign. Then Umar got really lost his control and he got upset with Rasulullah. He remembered that incident and he says, I cannot say this is Rasul. Then Aisha, she was crying, her tears stopped with anger. She said, Allah will clarify my innocence. That was her response. And what happens after that? What happens after that? Rasulullah was quiet. She did not. He kept himself quiet. Abu Bakr Siddiq kept his quiet. Aisha's mom kept quiet. And Aisha turned back and she controlled her anger. She just said, even you are asking me if. she was upset when Abu Bakr denied the respond to her. She turned back. What happened? Allah sent 10 ayahs clarifying the innocence of Aisha. That's how, our mother, she lost control. She got upset with the sabr. She has been having patience for the last 30 days. But when this happened, she almost lost control and told her father, respond to him. He did not say anything. Rasulullah did not say anything. Allah clarified the situation. Like this, Allah will provide a solution for your hardship. Allah says, I will not give anybody more hardship than what he can bear. Maybe some people who really die in the sufferings and all, maybe that is good for them. That's how Allah said, maybe he had so much strength that he even lost his life in having patience. And we get upset and say, I have been praying, I have been doing this, and then Allah is not good to me. We cannot never say these things. The trial Allah will definitely test you with loss of life, loss of money, and hunger. I will test you. And this is what the test we have really seen in the recent past, and people are patient. And with this, the world is learning what kind of patience these Muslims have. What is this? What is Quran teaching them? What is so great about it? That is why they are reading Quran again, and they are borrowing the Quran, they are taking copies of Quran. So, Islam is not just coming and praying into the masjid and fasting. Islam, we have to show. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha told that he was a walking Quran. Whatever said in the Quran, he showed it to the people. So we have to show as personalities to our friends, our colleagues, our subordinates, our bosses, our partners in business, that what really Islam is. Not just, it's time to pray. What we can do when we learn from the Quran, we try to practice it. Honesty in our dealings in the businesses, honesty in doing our jobs. And be fair with your friends, with your neighbors. That's what Quran teaches. And when they see this, they get the likeness. They want to come closer to Islam. They have some affinity to Islam. They want to learn about Islam. And they improve themselves. This is how the communities, societies, nations improve. Why do you think at the time of Rasulullah the whole Arabian Peninsula accepted Islam? Why? Because they have seen the example in the life of Rasulullah. How he fought all the defensive wars. Every ghazwa or the war he fought was all for the defense. Now he never offended anybody. He just presented the deen, and he had lot of hardship. He was more tried messenger than any of the messengers in the past. And what did he show? Patience, sabr. In the sabr, even if you have some emotional reaction to it, make sure that it is within the limits. And this is just one thing. There are 5,600 ayahs in the Quran. There's so much guidance in the Quran. We have to learn, not just read the Quran. Alhamdulillah, we read Surah Al-Kahf every Friday. We read some Quran every day. Make sure that we read the meaning and try to impersonify. That means we have to act what we are learning. When we do that, it's automatic dawah. Every individual is doing the dawah if he performs well in society. If you have problems in the hardship, bear with patience. If you have anger, control your anger. These are just few examples of sabr. We have seen in the Yaqub alayhi salam, we have seen in Aisha and we have seen how Musa advised his people about sabr. So inshallah, even if you have emotional reaction to our sabr, make sure that it is under control. Because if you lose control, it puts us into a deeper problem, deeper trouble. Barakallahu اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وقنا عذاب حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إسرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من جهل البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء يا إله. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الحقد والجزع. أعوذ بك من العجز والكسل. أعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل. أعوذ بك من غلبة الدين قبل الأداء يا إله. ربنا إننا مغلوب فانتصر. ربنا إننا مغلوب فانتصر. ربنا إننا مغلوب فانتصر. ربي يسر ولا تعسر عباد الله اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجيب لكم ولذكر الله تعالى وأتم وأكبر. أقيموا الصلاة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت. فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر. إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. We have assignments from the job, so many things, that businesses and all. We have to have plans and make sure that in this year when we make plans as the year. Alhamdulillah, we have started a new year.